national polls, and they show the president's approval ratings hitting these historic lows as he approaches his first 100 days in office. The president does not like these polls. He calls them fake.
Except he says they're fake, except they contain some very positive info.
And he was touting them yesterday, but today they're fake. Let's get the bottom line from CNN senior political commentator David Axelrod. David, give us context here. These are historically low as far back as anybody can remember. For 100 days, no president was at the 40% approval or 42% approval. And yet, look, the 100-day is an artificial deadline. Nobody's voting today, and his diehard supporters are not budging.
Yeah, no, I think you summed it up. Look, I think, first of all, what we've seen is the clash between the reality of campaigning and the reality of governing. Donald Trump got elected with this let me take care of it bravado, as if governing was a reality show and he could come into the boardroom and make decisions and things would happen. And what he's learning is that as president, that's not the way it works on every issue. He seems to be discovering that things are more complicated than he realized. And in some cases, he's made adaptations and he's done well on the national security front. There are a few places where you'd point to that, some of the executive orders on things that he wanted to get done. But in dealing with Congress and in dealing with these very complex issues like health care, not so much. But as you point out, and Allison, your focus group with these voters was very instructive, these Trump voters. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. His clash with the establishment is what they expected, what they wanted. When things don't go well, they give him pretty much of a pass on that for now. But years down the line, when he's really judged, which is when he comes before voters again, then I think they're going to ask themselves the question that voters always do. Am I better off now? Do I feel like I'm more economically secure? Has he done the things that he said that he would do to help me? And if the answer is yes, they will stick with him. And if the answer is no, some of them will peel away.
Seems like the president would be better served by a voter panel group of those who are against him and see what's going on, because he can't grow. That's his problem right now. He's locked in his base, but the numbers repeat the headline time and time again. He's not expanding that base. So President Obama is going to give his first post-election speech.
Let me just say one point.
Don't try to run away from that Obama question, though. It's coming, Axe. I'll tell you right now.
I'm not going to run. I'm not running anywhere, my friend. But on that point, there are two groups of Trump voters, the group that Allison spoke to, and then there's the group that voted for him, not so much because they liked him, but because they didn't like Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. He's doing much less well, according to some of these polls, with those voters. That should be a source of concern for him. As for Obama, I think what you can expect today is that he's going to address the need for these young people to get invested in community service, in organizing, in trying to change their world by getting together to solve problems. I do not think that he's going to offer a critique of his predecessor. I know people are hungry for that. If that's what they're looking for, they'll be disappointed. What I'm looking for as the director of the Institute of Politics at the University of Chicago is to see him inspire these young people to believe that they can make a difference. And I think that he will.
That's not juicy. I know you want to see the inspirational message, but please don't bother us with that.
But, I do think people are, there are a lot of people who would love to see him be the point of the spear in this debate with President Trump. And Trump has given him ample reason to respond. But I know from my personal conversations with him, he believes that former presidents have a certain role, and it's not to re-engage in the political wars, but to offer commentary on larger points when they're appropriate. So, I don't think he's going to plunge into this and get back in. He's run his last race. He will comment when he thinks basic principles are being abrogated, and I'm sure he'll be making speeches on some of these larger issues in the months to come. But don't expect him to be in there, back in the ring again.
That sense of decorum and of leaving his administration where it was, and that's like an atavism now, because everybody is just attacking all the time. It's such a bygone notion of restraint. Let me ask you something. 100 days. Trump said it mattered. He had a plan, talked about it all the time, now says it doesn't matter. What's your take on the measure that FDR put in place? Is it still a good look at whether or not a new administration is able to get something done?
You know, I think it's sort of an artificial construct. I do think that you get clues from the early part of an administration as to how a president's going to operate. And clearly, one of the clues we've gotten here is that this improvisational style of Trump is not readily adaptable to governing. And when he does improvise, and I believe, by the way, that when he said we're going to do health care, we're going to get this we're going to announce our tax reform plan on Wednesday and so on, these are sort of improvisational impulses on his part, and they don't generally work out well.
All right, David, thank you very much for previewing all of that and giving us the analysis. Great to see you.
Good for those kids at the University of Chicago. Get the message from the former president. Also, quick programming note. Don't miss America United or Divided, a live CNN town hall with Ohio Governor John Kasich. You got Anderson Cooper moderating tonight, 10 p.m. only on CNN.
So there was this terrifying moment. It was caught on dash cam. There's a little girl who falls out of the back of a moving bus there. Lucky for her, a hero was in the right place at the right time. He joins us to tell us this story next.